Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT EMEA Stage 1 for playoffs. My guest at this time is Serial of Team Liquid coming off their match against Team Heretics in the lower bracket finals of said playoff phase and in said competition, thus finishing their run in third place and thus moving on also to Masters Toronto in the same aforementioned place slash seed. And so, Serial, thank you so much for the opportunity for this quick interview. I mean, a 3-0 defeat, not really the kind of result you guys would have wanted to absorb, but such is the case in this game. I want to ask you first and foremost, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling? And what's it like, coming off of that match?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's. I feel like for everybody, it's gonna be very emotional, especially me, because this was like the first some sort of finals, best of five, and I feel like as a team, we didn't show what we are truly capable of, and it led to a performance that, of course, we're not gonna be happy with. It's gonna be very emotional. It is very emotional, and it's not a good feeling to be experiencing, but I feel like we're gonna bounce back. Everything's only gonna get better, and I'm happy for the future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, despite this result, this doesn't take away the accomplishments that this team has been able to continue in this year. And also for yourself, finishing third place in VCT EME. And given that you started off this year, like on the outside looking in, playing in tier two and all that good stuff, it's a kind of like a mixed kind of emotions. Would it be fair to say for you?
There's a lot of mixed emotions. I mean, the emotions of being here, being able to participate and playing, but also so many changes to adapt and adjust to. And I mean, it's been worth it. It's been great, and I've had incredible guidance along the way. So it's made it way easier than it could have been.
No, for sure. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people, if they were in your kind of shoes, they would probably struggle and just having to adapt to tier one. But you've definitely been able to make it work so far to qualify for Masters Toronto and contribute to the team in the way that they want you to contribute in, and also like I said, adapting, moving over from tier two to tier one. I want to ask you sort of like as you kind of now begin to process what has happened in this stage one, what has been the biggest takeaway or more so thing that you had to like work on, look at, and adjust throughout the entire season?
I mean, I think it's mostly just realizing that like this is the real deal. Like maybe in the past, the games might have not seemed as competitive and it could have been easier, sometimes harder, but like now getting put into this position is like it requires a lot from everybody. I mean, the coaching staff, the players. It's not as simple as we just sit down and play. It's constant training, constant preparing, adapting to the new metas, and it's a difficult ride without a doubt. But it's gonna be worth it, and it has been worth so far.
I've had a chance to talk to plenty of players that have, moved up from tier two to tier one, and they've given their own like view as to what has been the biggest differences for them between both levels. Some say it's like the pace of the game being much more quicker, and others saying like the intelligence level, the IQ level is much more difficult to kind of navigate and also like use to best other good teams. For you, Serial, where do you kind of look at the difference between playing in tier two and tier one?
I think it's a mixture of what you said. I mean the players obviously without a doubt are intelligent. I mean it's not taken away from tier two. Tier two players, a lot of them are very intelligent, and I mean for me specifically, I realized like yeah, in tier two you can shine with good mechanics if that's like your strong point. You go to tier one, you need to solidify every aspect of your playstyle, your aim, your mechanics, your movement, your game sense, your intelligence. It's basically it's just the highest level that any player can achieve, and you have to stay there consistently.
In that sense, I want to ask you just sort of like, how did you view the difference, in terms of like how you guys performed today, going back into the series right now, and Team Heretics, where you kind of look at the difference or gap between you guys and them today?
In my opinion, I don't think there's a gap. I think that both teams are on an equal ground. I mean, all the players are insane, all the coaching staff on both sides. I just feel like Heretics played a really good game, and we, as a team, we did not show what we are truly capable of.
I mean, the only like the only like window in which the series was much more equal leveled was in Ascent, in which you guys were got out into that quick 5-0 lead, and then Heretics came back at the end of that first half, and then kind of put it into like a stalemate as you guys now transition over to the second half, where you guys were on the defensive side, and then Heretics pulled away on that. Um, was it kind of like the same story, in terms of like how you view the biggest differences between your team and theirs on Ascent in that time frame, or do you feel like there was other factors that played into just how to like you guys struggled in that second half?
I think um, the second, I mean, the game in general, like we started off properly. We played the game that we could always play and like what we're capable of. I ended up just, I think, going down to momentum. We had the momentum, we gave away the momentum, they got the momentum, and it just kept going. I think both teams in that map played really good Valorant, and it just came down to some tiny mistakes, which at the end of the game, tiny mistakes in any competitive FPS game, they cost a lot. And in this, especially in this high of a level, you just have to try not make mistakes. And I think those cost us the map that we probably 80% of the time should have taken, especially on defense, one of our strongest sides.
I mean, when you were like in the server and you kind of seeing like heretics, use that or more so compete well and then have to build the momentum, and then it was up to you guys to try to like stop the momentum and then try to turn it back to your favor. As someone that has like competed in tier two, tier one, was it difficult for you to just try to like focus on just trying to fend off heretics nonstop advance?
I I didn't find it honestly that difficult. Like they don't play a complicated game in a sense. They play a very thought out, consistent game. But the way they approach, especially Ascent, it felt like it was very simple, but it was pinpoint precise, and they had everything to zero. Everything was perfect. So I mean, of course, between tier one and tier two, there's a lot of differences, and you don't really see teams have their game so solidified. Because Heretics just ended up taking any tiny piece of string and pulling the whole yarn with them. So I think that's a good way of summarizing the map. Because we had a good lead, we had everything going good for us, and we just gave them a tiny piece we shouldn't have given.
And now, as you guys begin to move on from competing in stage one and now focus on to Masters Toronto, now focusing on the sort of individual accomplishment of that regard, like, did you even kind of foresee that you would be capable of like being in a tier one team and then qualifying for an international tournament, at the start of this year, and also amidst that kind of answer, how would you view your year overall, just having to make it all happen and just just go through the entire year so far?
I mean, starting off in I guess you could say in tier two in the Spanish league with my amazing old team and the amazing coaching staff. I think without them and without the help that they did provide me, and the insight and the info and the reviews and the feedback, I think the tiny amount that I played with them put me to a level where I was enough to get the grasp of tier one. So I was like, I felt like I can reach the top of the ladder, and that transition period into tier one definitely was rough. I mean, my first game shows it. It was against Gentlemates, and it was not the greatest.
Hmm.
Of course, still getting the experience, everything new. Um, but I think, thankfully, with the coaching staff having all the experience they do, the players in the team, and like them just knowing the game so well, even me going into completely different roles and stuff that I wasn't really comfortable on, they put their whole 200% all the time they could, everything they knew, and they just put it in my face. And with their help and my own dedication. I ended up learning stuff that I probably wouldn't have learned in the past. And I think without their support, it would have gone way rougher than it did. I mean, we reached top 3. That is an insane accomplishment. Would we have wanted to win today? Of course. But I mean, Heretics just played the better game today. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm really happy. No matter what. I mean, yeah, today's gonna be a little bummed out later. You know, look back at the mistakes and stuff I could have done better. But I'm thankful to be in the position I am, and I'm never gonna take it for granted.
Of course, that's definitely the kind of mindset one player should have. Every player should have after the absorbing defeat. And so, one more question I want to ask you before I wrap up. As a member of one of the teams that will be taking part in Masters Toronto, do you have any team that you most definitely want to face? And also on top of that, do you have a player that you most definitely want to meet, either inside of the server or outside of the server?
Player, I mean, not player wise, but team wise, I think I mentioned this earlier. It definitely has to be G2. I mean, it's a really basic answer, honestly. I feel like most players with them saying that. But G2 has been showing so much dominance, so much consistency. They're probably one of the most consistent teams with everything they do. And that is a team that will put any team up to the test to actually test their potential to see, okay, you guys should be here. You know, you're able to put up a fight or you're able to win the whole series. But they're like a good team to get a benchmark off of. And player wise, I don't even know. Nothing really comes to my mind. 'Cause, I mean, I'm not really watching much out of the EMEA region,
Mm.
so it's like it's a tough choice. I don't think I'd be able to give you an answer just yet. I guess I have to go to Toronto. You know, I meet some people. Maybe something's gonna click inside of me. Like, oh, meeting this guy was nice, but for now, I'm gonna leave my pockets open and see what happens. Who I meet, you know, maybe befriend some people, make some new friends for the future.
No, of course, to definitely be able to. Definitely gonna request for you once again once we're in Toronto, and have for
And
an
I'll
update
give you an
on that.
update then. Exactly.
Of course. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for the opportunity for the interview. Once again, thank you so much for the answers. Tough luck on the loss, but still, hopefully, you guys can bounce back in Canada. So that's it. Thank you so much, and best of luck in the
Thank you.
break.
Thank you.